I think anyone sane could tell you having men in women's sports is not a good idea whatsoever. But as it is 2026, we do live amongst a lot of insane people. And in this video, you're going to see a trans woman, a man turned to a woman, debate the fact about this very point, and they get very upset in the process of doing so as a caller basically argues against them. So without further ado, let's have a watch because this is absolute insanity. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel.
All right. Well, listen, stay with us, Amy. We've got Sharon Davis on the line as well, who's campaigned on this issue because you felt always a fundamental unfairness. Anyone born male being in a female category just was not fair, Sharon.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this isn't about keeping anyone out of sport. You know, I want everyone to be able to do sport. This is about the fundamental fairness for 50% of this world's population who are biologically female. And if you think you're born in the wrong body, the point is it's the body that's doing the sport. And obviously the scientific evidence is there, or the IFC would not bring this rule in. You know, they really wouldn't open themselves up to litigation if they didn't have the science to back it up. We know that things like Q angles, which is the angle between your hips and your knees, that can never be removed or changed. That enables better cadence, get better power, lower fat content. You know, there's all sorts of things. Once you've boiled an egg, which is puberty, you can't unboil it. So those advantages stay there forever. And what's obvious and evident with this conversation that we're having now is that this doesn't affect men's sports. And in the Olympic Games in Paris, we actually saw trans-identifying females, so that's females who identify as being trans men, still opting to compete with women. And women have no problem with that, providing people aren't taking, you know, illegal testosterone. So if women can do that, i.e. welcome people into their competitions, you know, that identify as the opposite sex, that are biologically the same sex, then I do not understand why men's sport can't do exactly the same. This just keeps the integrity of sport fair for all women and girls who deserve the opportunities. Jeremy, the most incredible statistic is that women get less than 5% of all the money in the world of sport. Men get 95% of all the capital that's available. And then a few years ago, they were told they weren't even allowed to have a level playing field. We have WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency. The whole point of WADA is to stop people having the tiniest advantage in sport. And we were just told as women we were expected to take, in something like weightlifting, a 30% advantage. And I would just let Seb know, for example...
Wait, hang on, you said a lot. Let me just put this to Amy. But Amy, what do you bet? There's an awful lot there to digest, Amy.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. So the part about the money within sport and that going to men statistically, I say that there's a strong case for that. But I say, again, that's probably because there is more people watching these types of sports. So again, it's the fact of how can we put women in the limelight to have these opportunities as well.
Why don't, Amy, why can't we just say trans women can compete in male events?
I'd say that wouldn't be fair as well. So there's a big distinction between a trans woman pre-hormones and also a trans woman after hormones. So sports is all about match-based skill match based, basically. So for example, in MMA, you would have a heavyweight category that can see 95 kg opponents go up against 120 kg opponents, but you wouldn't put them in a category with somebody that's only 75 kg. So this is what I'm saying about trans women specifically. If you have a trans woman that has spent most of her life going through hormone therapy and puberty blockers and all of these different categories, she's more inclined to compete against the women in terms of match-based skill making.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Sharon Davis. Oh, go on, Sharon.
No, I was just saying in boxing, for example, a male of equal weight will punch 160% harder. And we should never see what we saw in Paris ever happen again.
Thank you. I remember that bout, although that woman wasn't trans, though, was she, Sharon? What was going on there?
But she was biologically male, so she was a male DSD. So actually, this new test will actually stop all males from competing in female sport.
Amy, is that right?
She wasn't trans.
Yeah, but Sharon has just given you all right. Okay. Thank you both, Amy and Sharon.
I don't know how these type of discussions are even worthy of TV time, but this is just the world we live in 2026, when we're debating whether or not, you know, biological men should be competing in women's sports, and especially when you bring in combat sports like boxing, like they mentioned, that famous thing that happened a few years ago when a trans woman, I don't know the transformer essentially was in a boxing fight with a biological female, and it doesn't end well, and it's a very dangerous road to go down, and they should ban this. If you are a biological male, you should not be competing in women's sports. If you're a biological female, you should not be competing in men's sports. It's a very simple line that should not be crossed whatsoever. And the fact we're even debating it just shows like how messed up we are as a country and how far we have fallen, truly. But guys, let me know your thoughts on this. As always, make sure you do like, comment, and share, and subscribe to the channel as well for more content just like this. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.